I'm going off of memory here. I wanted to get this video out because in my free time I've been watching Supernatural, and I've also been, well, months before I was watching Grimm. I'm battling between which one is the better show. Now, they don't have to be on a ranking against each other, but they're similar in certain ways. And also, they are very deep. If you are into consciousness or spirituality, you should definitely check out the two shows. Dean and Sam Winchester are ultimate experts in the world of occult and mysticism and esoteric stuff and witchcraft and all that. So it's a great watch. Also, I found a very wild synchronicity with the story, but I don't want to spoil too much. But there may be spoilers because this is honestly like a season 1 to 5 review. I've stopped on episode 1 of season 5 so far, and I may watch the rest. I think I'm pretty much gonna stop after season either 5 or 6, because honestly, I've heard a lot of people, even my girlfriend, says the show just becomes lobotomized. So I'm probably just not going to watch it because already it started to lose me a bit after season 3 and 4, because again, it was dope, in the literal first episode. I'm gonna spoil this, so if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch episode 1. Like, that's kind of crazy. The show's been out for a while now. Watch it. You have no excuse. I'm just joking. You maybe have better things to do. But right, in episode 1, they took on a myth or a creature or a legend, or it's a spirit, but they took on a myth that I was actually aware of. And literally in episode 3 as well. I think episode 3 or 2. I don't want to spoil the creature yet. Okay, no, never mind. There's going to be spoilers. We're almost 2 minutes into the video, so I have to say that. By the way, intro, remember to be your authentic self. Remember to live in your highest expression. Don't step on anybody else's journey, and you will align the perfect life for you. I 100% believe that and feel that, especially with things I've learned now. Got some videos coming out on that. Yeah. Okay. So back to the video. On episode 1, they literally come across a ghost girl like that. She appears on the side of the road and she gets into the back of your car, or some people say when you see her, don't pick her up, blah, 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 blah. Now, Supernatural takes a different spin on legends or cryptids like, what is it? Bloody Mary and things of that nature. Now, when the show was doing this, to me, it was fire because I recognized exactly what it was immediately before they even mentioned it in the episode, especially the first episode with the ghost girl, and I told my girlfriend, I was like, yo, is that the one legend? Have you ever heard of it? Of the girl that people see on the side of the road? And it's and again, spirits, women in white dresses probably are all over America, or ghost cryptid type legends. But it was insane to see how Supernatural did it and kind of made it like this physical thing that they had to find the bones, burn the bones, release the spirit, etc., etc., right? Well, then the show, to me, not that the writer, I think the writer's writing, the first writer who was on for and had his original ending for the first 1 to 6 seasons, because it was supposed to be 6 seasons long. Apparently I'm getting all the lore from my Supernatural fanatic girlfriend, but is good. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I sometimes start to put the way I would mold and craft a story when it starts to fall off for me. So where it started to fall off a little bit is I like how they handled angels, demons, and everything. But when it became more focused on this angel demon war, it kind of started to lose me because the episodes became more about that rather than the actual creatures and myths. And there's a Wendigo in there and skinwalkers that no more. It went, I think this is the order. It went vampire, 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 demon, demon, vampire, demons, demons possessing people, but they need to do that anyways because they need a host. But then it went demon, 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 angel, 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 angel. And I was like, what the fuck? and I did that performance because it made my girlfriend crack up. But to me, it's like, I like it. I like the introduction of seeing the different angels, like Zachariah, Castiel, and just, learning that there's more angels that are going to show up. I had a crazy synchronicity with Uriel and just a bunch of things that I was thinking about on a deeper spiritual level where it's wild. I name a lot of my characters in games Uriel, so that was kind of funny. I was like, oh, am I part angel? I'm anyways. So anyways, moving on from that, it was just dope. And seeing how Uriel was like the kind of mix of how they did angels and demons and this kind of idea of not really humanizing the mythical creatures and entities, but in a way, yes. I don't know if I'm explaining this properly, but what I mean is they basically brought the more angelic or mythical creatures down to earth where it's like, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. They just gave them more of a, I don't know if I want to say like a human personification, but it's just how they did it is cool. Like they focused on them in a mythological way over like religious, like, you know, like strictly religious, but also it's a mix because you can't get really away from that when you're mentioning certain angels and like the story of Lucifer and like Lucifer, just the way they handle it all is really cool. But and my girlfriend did spoil a couple things for me because I was like, you know, like the writing was starting to get to me because I was like, well, in this world, we see that there's trickster gods and stuff. So like, what is like this pagan trickster god doing while the actual god that's in the story that's the angels, some of the angels are, you know, team angel, team god are talking about, you know, they talk about the man upstairs, the being upstairs. But then you got like literal pagan gods in the show. And I was like, I don't know. That's where it kind of started to lose me a bit. So she ended up spoiling it for me because I was just like, yeah, just tell me. Because I don't mind spoilers. I still enjoy the shows, anything that I watch. But also I end up figuring it out. But then when the writing gets a certain way, I'm like, okay, but this has to make sense to me because there's pagan gods in this universe that they come across. And I'm pretty sure in the episodes where it becomes more lobotomized, there's like fucking entities that are like multi-universal or cosmic or like time beings, apparently. Don't know why Supernatural went for 15 seasons, but hey, it is what it is. Good on them for their success. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. It just certain things got to me when it just became this whole angel and demon war and then the apocalypse. And I'm assuming because it's the apocalypse, we're actually going to meet the four horsemen in the show. I don't know. Sometimes it gets to me with how certain things were done. And I could do a whole breakdown, but I just wanted to do a review because it was super fire. Or like just like my impressions of the show. I'm not gonna go into in depth into Dean's psyche and how he likes looking up busty Asian women and just I'm not gonna go but it's a solid show. I mean, I really loved it. I shed tears at one of the craziest reveals about like Sam and his psychic powers and like, you know, the whole demon blood fiasco. But then when he was meeting the other kids that had the whole psychic abilities, that shit had me literally run out of my room and I had to go tell someone because I was like, bro, this is fucking amazing. Like, what the fuck? Like, that was so solid writing. I don't remember what episode exactly it was, but it was earlier on. And even the twist of how like the girl who was so sweet having visions and everything just like turned so dark. But I have mixed feelings on how they handled like the psychic stuff in the show and that spiritual aspect of it. Like, yes, I get it. I get it was blessed by demonic blood for most of the kids, but I was kind of like Sam didn't keep any remnants of it. And this is where my Grimm conversation comes into play. But we're gonna have that Grimm discussion in a totally separate video. There, I gotta keep them separate, or I'm gonna yap and go down a rabbit hole. But personally, debate some Supernatural fans out there, I low key feel like Nick and the cast in Grimm could beat Sam and Dean from the first seasons. Let's take them from how long did they. Okay, so Grimm ended season 6, right? I think it has 6 seasons. Supernatural went on for 15. So let's take Sam and Dean from the first 6 seasons. I think if you put them in a death battle, Nick kind of can handle, like Nick and Monroe. Just the cast, the team, could kind of handle them. I don't know. I'm just saying that to kind of spark up a discussion, but I do kind of believe that Nick is cracked. And I don't know. I like Grimm slightly a little bit more. I thought Supernatural was going up, but anyways, back to Supernatural. I'll just wrap this up by saying you should definitely check it out. I like how they handle a lot of the creatures. I do definitely like how they handle like the psyche. I think one of the most badass moments in Supernatural was when Dean kind of came out of hell because they had him chained down there, and like, a year down there is like 10 years on Earth. So, there was a point in time where Dean finally got offered a deal by this mega demon Alistair. If you start doing the torturing, I'll let you off the hook, and you start ripping in the souls. And Dean was like, yeah. And then it reveals an episode, he's having PTSD of that. And then but Dean ends up telling Sam he actually liked that shit. And that's why he was showing, like, Alistair, when he shows up, he's telling him, the prodigy, like the young, or like my student, or the da-da-da-da-da. And Sam was kind of like, huh, in certain episodes when that started happening. And it just got revealed where Dean was just like, nah, Sam, I liked it. I liked it. I enjoyed every bit of just ripping into souls. And, and then, I guess there's a whole twist that when the first, the first honest or pure man or something like that, I don't know. To me, it's saying along the lines of the same thing. I know I'm changing the word slightly, but it's like when the first pure of heart man commits the first sin in hell or something like that. And apparently it was Dean's fault that the fucking apocalypse started. Just a whole bunch. I'm like, okay, there's certain things. And then even how Dean acts towards Sam sometimes trips me up. I swear I'm catching inconsistencies in the writing, but I'm not going to say this for a show that's fucking super fire. But there's certain things that just don't make sense to me. And if I had a pen and notepad and went back to write them, I would for y'all. I don't know. Some scenes, it just feels like Dean's character is consistent. And then he's like, don't do it to me, Sammy. And then it'll flip back. And then he's like, acting and trying to put on his mask like nothing's wrong. I don't know. He gets me. But when he started saying I'm tired and being honest, I was like, damn. Damn, buddy boy. I felt you in the beginning of my spiritual journey. But I guess I'll end the video with saying a very odd synchronicity. When I was a very young boy, right? And this is not really the biggest spoiler if you've watched Supernatural up until this point. But when I was a young boy, I had a dream of somebody putting me in a crib, right? And then whoever the woman was, it looked like I was in this facility, and I was never able to forget this dream. Maybe it's something spiritual. Just so weird, the timing of hearing a car horn honk. But when I had this dream, never will let this go. This woman's face lit on fire, and she had like a skull, and then her whole body was on fire. Now, in Supernatural, oddly enough, Sam was in the crib, and his mother was pinned to the ceiling and burned on fire. And I think when I started to get to the end of season 4, and maybe somewhere in there they brought this moment up happening again, or one of the seasons where they referenced this again, might have been the one with the psychic kids. For some reason, I remembered that moment as I got to the end of season 4 and tripped out completely. I heard, again, we're a collective consciousness, so it's kind of crazy. I don't know. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but it's just weird that I had a dream that was very similar to how the main plot kind of starts off in Supernatural. And for years I was saying I want to watch Supernatural, but never did until my girlfriend basically pushed me off a cliff into the Supernatural rabbit hole. But again, it's just a very weird correlation or coincidence that I had a dream where I was in a crib and a woman was basically like set on fire. Now, it didn't look as jarring as, it looked as jarring as the show, but I meant the body language of the woman in the dream, from what I can remember, was like this was an everyday occurrence. It wasn't like some weird AI generated dream. It was very, very fucking vivid. And she didn't get pinned to the ceiling, but she was in a weird perspective where it felt like she was looming over where you were looking at the ceiling. And it was odd. It was crazy. And I was like in this facility, and I just thought it was very odd that the whole main thing of even the psychic children, they were like, did your parents die in a house fire? Were you guys in a place where there was a house fire that was there? And, and it's very odd. And now that I'm thinking about it, oh, that's very interesting too. My stepfather has an occurrence in his life where he was under a burning crib. I don't know. I'm maybe connecting some odd dots, some odd synchronicities, but I just thought that was cool. And Supernatural, anyways, to end it, it's fire. I think Jared Jensen Ankles and Jared Padlock. I'm just playing. Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles. Fuck it. Oh, I think they are some phenomenal actors when it came to Sam and Dean Winchester. I love the characters. I loved a lot of the episodes. But yeah, I think I have to throw in the towel. I don't know. I thought the Prophet moment was cool too. And how, the Prophet was being protected by an archangel. I mean, I was all for the angels, getting to see more of the angels, and I can't wait to see more of the players that are on the board. But also, that's what kind of hit me too, is like, there's so many different entities, and then we get introduced to a trickster god, and I'm like, okay, this Loki type of being, because I think Bobby, which is another like supporting character in the show, he's another hunter, also, it says how these trickster gods are kind of like Loki. They're like pagan. They have many names. And it's like, there's just one here and can fucking put Dean and Sam in fucking time loops and shit. And then like is not in this main angel and demon war. That's just where, the writing was like, to me. But anyways, I still give the show a high rating. And I think it's really good. I think that's it for me. Now I got to do Grimm, which Grimm is my shit. I got back into Grimm recently after getting to season 5, episode 1 of Supernatural. And I was just like, man, I don't know. And Grimm, why I say it's similar is if you didn't watch Grimm, well, there's Hunters in Grimm too. They're just slightly different universe. But the Grimms are known as hunters. They hunt Vessin. But yeah, anyways, long story short. And they also did their myths and creatures with La Llorona and things like that. So it's like, and it felt like to me Grimm stayed consistent. Okay, this is more for the Grimm versus Supernatural video. But anyways, Supernatural is really good. There's some things in there for me. But I definitely think it's fire. I just wanted to share my thoughts. And yeah, and now I'm out of here.